Welcome to my very first YouTube video. I want to show you today how to draw a Barbarian, and namely Grog Strongjaw of Critical Role. This is to celebrate Critical Role's record-breaking Kickstarter for their Dungeons & Dragons game. Anyway, we're going to get started, and we're going to start out with a quick pencil sketch, but I promise by the end of it, it's going to look something like this. So if you follow along, you will be amazed how easy it is when you break the steps down into little shapes and lines. We'll get started with the head. So we're going to draw a straight line just like that, and it's going to curve. We're going to make the head long because his mouth is going to be wide open in a yell. And then a line for the neck, and then the traps are going to come out like that. And then we'll draw two round ovals for the shoulders. The pectorals, his chest, is going to come out like this. Everything doesn't need to be symmetrical, by the way, because he's at a bit of an angle. So some of the shapes on this side are going to be a bit bigger than the shapes on that side because they're farther away, and the ones on this side are closer. We're going to go to the bicep and into the tricep, so that part of the arm. I have a little tip. About halfway through, I like to, or about 3/4 maybe, I like to curve the tricep into the elbow. And then the elbow is right there. Have a tendon at the bottom of the bicep to connect it to the forearm. And then the forearm is curved, which straightens out into the wrist. And then curve, which straightens out into the wrist. And then you have the thumbs down sign for YouTube. It's literally the easiest hand possible. Just draw the thumbs down sign for YouTube. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll have the round shape for the arm, a tendon to connect, curves, and then straightens into the wrist. And then we're going to do our little curve there into the elbow, and then it straightens into the wrist. And then you have the YouTube thumbs down sign. Now, that doesn't mean you have to give me a thumbs down. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. The wings are going to come out. On this side, it's going to come out a little further because it's closer to us. Because again, he's on an angle. This side's going to be farther. And then for the abs, we're going to draw a round line like so. And then we're actually going to draw almost like a sideways heart. But it's going to be rounded like so. And then that's the outline of the abs. And then we're going to draw a line for the back. And then here, we're going to draw two lines. Again, just like the abs. For his hips, two lines there. Now we're going to get into the legs. I'll give him a generous package there. And then for the legs, we'll just draw almost like the neck of a bottle. How it comes out, and then it's kind of straight, and then rapidly curves inward. Kind of like that. The thigh is going to be like so. And then you have two lines for the suggestion of where the front of the knee is. The top of the knee, and then the bottom of the knee. Same way. This leg's going to be more on the side. So it's again straight, rapidly curves in, and then because we're seeing from the side, we'll draw the side of the butt cheek a little bit there, and then it's gonna narrow in again. And then the top of the knee is like so. And for the calves, so we want to draw two tendons to connect the calf muscle to the thigh muscle. And then the calves are two round lines, straighten that out there, and then the foot, we want to basically have two angles, but they're going to straighten out. The foot is going to be flat at the bottom because his foot is planted. We're going to curve this leg, or angle this leg, so the calf is a round shape. We're going to round that out like so. But this calf, we're going to, as the calf comes in, we have an inner curve, and then it's going to curve out to the ball of the foot. And then his foot is going to be arched because he's standing right on his toes on this foot. So arch that, and then the ball of his foot there. And then we want to make a bit of a bulge there. It's a bit of a Nike swoosh bulge almost. And then the toes, we'll just make it simple. We'll leave it like that for now. This is the body. Now we're going to get into the marker sketch. And again, by the end of it, it's going to look something like this. And with if you follow along, you will end up with a picture like that. So first things first, let's actually just show the outline of the axe, just so you can see what it's going to look like in the end. It's you can make it a simple hatchet like this, but no, we're gonna make a fancy axe. Grog likes his toys, And then the chain of returning we'll make as well. And I'll show you how to draw a really simple, quick chain. When you're drawing barbarians, there's gonna be chains. I mean, come on. So I want to show you how I'm gonna do the face. We're gonna start with that. And the face, I'm gonna draw it big for you, just so you can see up close. The eyes, if I'm gonna eyeball where the eyeballs go, I'm gonna eyeball them there. And then you want this little shape in here, but right between them. And the reason why, I'll show you. So that shape there, it's the crinkle in the nose between the brow of somebody who's got a really intense expression. And then for the eyes, nothing too fancy. It's just pointed in the corners and then two little dots for really an intense eye expression. And then the lines for the septum and then the top of the nose. So in the exact same way, we're gonna have this little shape there. It's gonna curve into the bottom of his brow, curve into the bottom of his brow, and then the two eyes are just pointed on the corners, and then two dots. And then you have the septum, the top of the nose, and then the bottom where his nostril comes out, like so. And then this nostril doesn't come out as far because it's farther from us. And then we want to curl this into a grimace again. His mouth is wide open because he's yelling. So that mouth is basically, think of it almost like a square or a rectangle, his mouth. We're going to add the top row of teeth, but the bottom row of teeth we're doing a little bit differently. We want it to be shaped like that. So let me show you that big as well. The mouth we want to do kind of like this. So these are the top row of teeth, and we'll kind of draw the suggestion of gums as well, right up there. And then the bottom row, we want to show the top crest of those teeth, and that's how we're going to make the mouth look three-dimensional, like it's open. And you know what? We might as well make the tongue coming out because he's crazy. And that's the look that we're going for. And the way to do that, if you think of a horseshoe, kind of like that, or a U shape, kind of how you made U's letters three-dimensional back in grade school, we're doing the exact same thing here. So bring that out, add some depth. That's exactly what we're doing inside the mouth. Just like this. And then his tongue, or you can stick the tongue out if you like. So then we do the bottom lip and bring that bottom lip all the way up because his mustache is going to lead into his grog beard. And then give him a little soul patch there. And then his some lines for his face. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get started with it here. And again, you can follow along if you like. You don't have to do it in marker. I'm doing it in marker because I really like the quality of a thick marker line. And personally, I like Sharpies. Even Crayola markers are fine. But I find that markers give you a really thick line quality that adds weight to a picture in a way that pencil has trouble doing. That's not easy to get with pencil. Oh, I forgot to make his tongue coming out. That's okay. I think he still looks pretty crazy, right? He still looks crazy enough. And then his beard. And then the face is going to come up like that. And then we'll make his beard kind of scraggly. Because, I mean, this guy, he doesn't really groom himself. He gets in fights and that's about it. So, little tiny ears. And then the top of the head will kind of make some hard shapes up there at the top. And I like to add those two little lines. Should we give him eyebrows? Sure, we'll give him some eyebrows. He's a barbarian. But, I mean, he's a Goliath who typically doesn't have eyebrows, but hey. I'm going to add a little bit of eyeshadow as well, just to make that expression more intense, and then two eyes just under the corner of the eyes. Now, tattoos. I mean, is it really Grog without tattoos? Not really. So, I'm just adding, basically I'm adding lightning shocks. Nothing too fancy. And you know what? At the top, I'm going to make a little battle axe, just so we all remember. He's a barbarian in Dungeons and Dragons, and he's representing. So there we go, and a little lightning there. So now we bring a line out for his neck and the traps, and then where the traps interact with the shoulder, you just have a little kind of an arrow almost, like that. And then the shoulder, it's going to come out, and I like to draw kind of striations there to show the musculature. The bicep, sometimes I like to flatten it out a little bit instead of making it too round. And then the tricep, again, it's going to come pretty much, just pretty much follow that same line we drew. And then curve the forearm into the wrist, and then the thumbs down sign. The finger, the index finger comes out a little bit farther than the other fingers. If you look at your hand when you're holding something, you'll notice that as well. Add a little bit of sinew for in his arms. Bam. And then so exact same process we're repeating for both arms. And then the thumbs down sign. And then his chest. So draw the clavicle there, and then we're actually going to add a little bit of sinew, striation in his chest as well. And then we'll give him some Goliath nips, and then the abs. So the abs, again, it's kind of a simple frowny line, and then the top two abs, we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then the next row, we're just doing a belly button. So make a little frowny face with the tongue sticking out. Bleh, like that. And then we'll add... We just want to kind of suggest the outline of the abs, because there's no line that separates. And again, we're not making him skinny. We're not making him an hourglass figure. He's a big guy. So his legs, you know what? We're going to draw the belt of dwarven kind. So 2 eyebrows, 2 eyes, a nose like so. Bam. That's a dwarven nose. Got a mustache, comes around, and we'll give him a little helmet with a jewel on it. And the dwarf has some teeth and a lip, and that's it. Then a beard, which is just a round shape that we'll draw some lines through. There's the belt of dwarven kind, and it doesn't need to be any more complex than that. Give him a little sash that goes around. Make sure that the sash comes up a little bit from his legs. That way it looks like it has some volume to it. Because we don't want it to look like it's paper. We want it to look like it's thick leather. And then we'll make a little bit of fur coming underneath just to cover up his dangly bits. The whole family doesn't need to see what Grog is packing. And then his thighs. So follow those lines. You don't have to follow them religiously, though. Because it's not... we're not... the lines that we draw as our final lines, only follow them if it makes sense, and if it doesn't, then use those to give you a reference for lines that make sense for you. Now, with the feet, add a little bit of a curve there for the ankle, side of the ankle, and then curve again for the ball of his foot to show that he's on his toes a bit. And then the toes are really simple. I'll show you again up close how I'm doing this. So I'm going to draw it big as well. The toes. This is how I draw my toes. Almost like the waves of water, just twice. It comes out like so, and then bam, that's a toe as far as I'm concerned. And it almost goes upward, you'll notice. It almost goes upward. Even when the foot is flat, I draw them so they're sort of going upward. So this one, follow the same lines, and it's straight and then curves down pretty rapidly. Top of the knee is almost an arrow, and then the curved calves. Calves, you don't have to make them perfectly round, because they are, if you look at a person's calves, they're actually kind of harder in shape. They almost have angles in them. Curve the heel of the foot, and then arch for the bottom, and then bam, down to the bottom. We're going to do the exact same thing with the toes that I just described there, and then bulge for the top of the foot. There you go. Now we're going to do that blood axe. So actually, you know what? First, let's do the tattoos. So tattoos, let's work with Grog first, just in case you're not all making him holding the axe. So a straight line on his arm, And then we want to try another straight line. This time, you know what? Let's turn that into kind of like a maze shape, almost like a dead end in a maze. Let's do that, and then on the bottom, let's do some circles. Notice how the shapes aren't flat; they're going around the curvature of his musculature. That's going to help him look more three-dimensional. And these tattoos are really, really simple to do. I'm not doing anything fancy whatsoever. So now instead of circles, let's do some triangles this time. And then more triangles, except for this one. Yeah, I want it to look almost like teeth. And then we'll do another line. And then, let's see, some more arrows. Except for these ones are going to be a bit longer and curvier. There you go. So Grog's got some tattoos now. Now the blood axe, and you can do that all over his body. And when in doubt, add lines like this, and geometric shapes, and lightning shocks like this. Lightning shocks all over. And then, there you go. You've got yourself a barbarian wearing tribal. Take an arrow shape and cut it in half, and there you go. You got a lightning shock, pretty much. And you know what? He probably has tattoos around his nipples. He's not a modest guy. He's Grog. So, or maybe they're squares. That, I think, looks a little more accurate, right? There you go. So there's his tattoos. Now we're going to do the blood axe. And again, it's going to look like this. You can make it a simple hatchet, but no. Not today. We're making something fancy. So when in doubt, add curves and angles. We're going to kind of go crazy with the back of it. It's going to be sort of a pick backside. And then we're going to bring it into a very rough, kind of oversized blade, and then hollow it out in the middle, just like that, in a big round circle shape. And we're going to show that the edge is really rough, like this, by drawing a rough line, and then drawing some curved lines out to the actual edge. I'm kind of going for, and the shapes are kind of random. Anytime you see a corner like this, just draw a line from it somewhere. And then on the blade, lead lines out to the edge of the blade. Now for the chain of returning, we're going to do almost a zipper shape. This is how you make a really easy chain. Really, really easy chain. And, oops. Even if you mess up a little bit, it's still fine. So, I'll show you how to do it. Think of like a door frame. Fill in the door frames just like this. And then on the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing. Except, we're going to go not all the way to the bottom. We're going to bring it in a little bit. Just like this. And then 2 lines in between the chains to show that they connect. There you go. That's how you draw really simple chains. If you can make the chains rounder, or you can make them harder and like more square shaped if you like. Whatever style you prefer, whatever style looks best for you. And you can even make them kind of spiky as well if you want. So that's the tutorial. That's essentially how to draw Grog Strongjaw. Keep filling in the tattoos and keep filling in the chains. Eventually it'll come all the way around into the other hand. And again, lightning shocks all over. There's nothing fancy that I did here. And tribal on the other arm. The geometric square shapes. I hope that was really helpful for you. And I hope that you really enjoy it. And I want you to, if you can think of any questions, send me some questions in the comments or tell me who you want to see drawn next. I'm actually running a contest. So the first, when I get 30 subscribers, anybody who's subscribed who's left a comment on one of my videos, I'm going to contact you and find out who you want me to draw. I'm going to do that for 3 subscribers who've commented on my videos, and draw 3 characters that they asked me to. Also, if you really liked the video, there's going to be a lot more coming, and my quality and quantity are both going to improve as well, so subscribe and find out, and so you can be updated when new stuff comes out. Also, give me a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't. I want your feedback, whatever it is. If you're quiet and you don't, and I don't know what you like, then I can't improve. So whatever it is, please say, please give me some kind of feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Congratulations again to Critical Role, and happy Easter, everybody. Is it Thursday yet?